Omari Akhmedov versus Chris Weidman takes place this weekend in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Vegas 6, Lewis versus Oleinik, and I can't wait for this fight. However, I'm very anxious for this matchup. I'm so glad that it's in the co-main event and Omari Akhmedov is getting the big spotlight that he deserves in this event coming up this weekend. However, Chris Weidman is involved in this fight, which makes me very anxious because Chris Weidman, although still being my boy, I know what the circle of life looks like on a chin. And it seems as though that Weidman is on the end of that circle of life, even though there isn't really a circle of life for a chin. Actually, it's not really a circle of life for a chin. It's more just a straight line that ends in complete catastrophe and starts somewhat okay. So not really a circle whatsoever. I take that back. It seems as though Chris Weidman is at the end of the line when it comes to chin density. Okay, and that's a very worrying sign because he's been KO'd many times in his past few fights. And even in the fights that he's won in his past few fights, like the Kelvin Gastelum one, he did get dropped on his ass. However, I feel as though Chris Weidman is going to beat Omari Akhmedov. And okay, and there's just something about styles here. I understand that Chris Weidman has been KO'd in all of his last fights, but to be fair to him, he took a pasting off Jacare before going down in that third round and might have even been winning that fight. It was a close fight, don't get me wrong. Might have even been winning that fight, went down in the third round. He took a pasting. He went up to light heavyweight, got cracked by Dominic Reyes and KO'd. Jared Cannonier did that same thing, but you know, I'm just saying, Jared Cannonier hasn't really taken the same wear and tear that Weidman has. I mean, even in the Rockhold fight, took an absolute beating. That was worse to me seeing that beating that he took off Luke Rockhold than just a quick KO finish like in the Reyes fight, but still. Weidman coming back down to middleweight. He's a way bigger guy than Omari Akhmedov. And I know that size doesn't always mean everything, but Weidman's size is different. I mean, it's not the size, it's how you use it. And Weidman uses his size very well. He gets right on top of guys, takes them down, implements the grappling straight away if he needs to. We saw that against Dominic Reyes. He was in no way willing to stand there with Dominic Reyes and have a feeling out process. He went straight after him, got him to the cage and went straight for a takedown, which is what he was supposed to do. Reyes got back up. Reyes didn't let Jones take him down. So Reyes' takedown defense is phenomenal. Omari Akhmedov's, for a small guy who's had some troubles against welterweights, coming up to middleweight as well, and has had trouble against middleweights. I know he beat Ian Heinisch and he looks really good. Looks really good against Ian Heinisch. It was a close fight still. Competitive. If there was one more minute left in that third round, he might have been TKO'd by Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori was plastering the shit out of him in that third round, but still. A good draw with Marvin Vettori. Omari Akhmedov has some good wins in this division. Don't get me wrong, and some good wins overall. Not like Weidman, though. Weidman's just that guy. He's the spanner in the works. He's kind of like the... I know I said Jack Manson's like Weidman 2.0, but he kind of is. Like, they're just that odd style matchup in the middleweight division where they can go for the heavy grappling takedown offense and just not play the game that a lot of these other middleweights play in. Edmund Shabazian, Brad Tavares, Uriah Hall, Yoel Romero stands with guys the whole time, even though he's a wrestler, but, you know, that seems to happen. Paulo Costa, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Darren Till, Jared Cannonier. I can go through the list here. Kelvin Gastelum. People don't tend to shoot takedowns in that middleweight division, and Weidman coming back down, he's just a whole different threat for these guys to deal with. I know I should not be betting on Weidman's chin at this point, coming back down to middleweight. I just feel as though I've seen some... I just think he can take Omari Akhmedov down, and if I think that, and I don't think that he's going to get KO'd within the first 30 seconds, I think he's going to get into a situation where he goes for a takedown, and because of that, I think he's going to be able to get Omari Akhmedov down. Omari Akhmedov has really good wrestling, but there is a real thing in size when it comes to wrestling. Omari Akhmedov was a big welterweight, don't get me wrong, but he's not a particularly big middleweight. He has problems as well, even though he's a smaller middleweight, which is never good to see. It's not like he's a huge middleweight fighter, but he still gasses out in that third round. We saw it against Marvin Vettori. In high-paced fights, Omari Akhmedov tends to slow down. Now, he's got really good leg kicks. Weidman doesn't really stay in range too much. If you'll notice in Weidman's fights, I know he's open to be hit quite a bit, but still, Weidman's bouncing a little bit in and out, throwing a lot of feints. Weidman throws very good feints. We saw that in the Jacare Souza fight. He doesn't just enter like in a stupid fashion like Marvin Vettori was doing in the first round of the Omari Akhmedov fight. Omari Akhmedov can crack. He's got real good power. I haven't seen any brutal KOs that, as of thus far in the middleweight division, I don't believe. Let me just check. Not a single KO in the middleweight division. In fact, not even a single KO in the UFC period. No, one KO against Thiago Pepueturo. Remember that guy? I don't either, you know? I really don't either. He's been in a while. He's been in the UFC for a while, but he just, in his recent fights, now that he's tailoring out of his prime, I haven't seen the dominant wins that I need to see from a guy. Even though he's beaten good guys like Ian Heinisch, who's a dangerous guy. Very dangerous guy. I haven't seen that thing that's going to crack Weidman on the chin in the first round and get him out of there by first round TKO. That's something I definitely haven't seen. I think Weidman's going to be able to shoot a takedown. He's going to have time to do that in the first round. He's going to get the takedown. He's going to be on top of Omari Akhmedov. Maybe there's going to be some scrambling. The smaller cage is going to benefit Weidman massively here because he's going to push Omari Akhmedov straight to the cage and avoid the stand-up altogether. And Omari Akhmedov's going to be in a smaller cage, getting pushed back towards it. Weidman's going to go straight for the grappling. I just think it's going to be just a 10% grappling difference and a 10% size difference. And that's going to lead to Weidman just looking like he bullies Omari Akhmedov in the grappling department. That's just my opinion here. I like Omari Akhmedov. He's got vicious leg kicks, as I said. He's got quick hands in the first round, somewhat of the second round as well. Better cardio than Shabazi, and that's for damn sure. But still, he does slow down dramatically. I just feel like with a grappling pace like Weidman's, if he keeps going for it, which I'm assuming his game plan is going to be, unless Weidman has an extra chromosome, he's not going to be looking to stand with Omari Akhmedov in much of this fight. I feel like he's going to go out there, push him against the cage, do what he kind of started to do against Dominic Reyes, but Omari Akhmedov's not going to be able to do what Dominic Reyes did and just immediately shake Chris Weidman off, especially with Weidman being down at middleweight. I think he knows exactly what his game plan is and he's going to implement it well. Take him down, submit him in a second round by arm triangle. I like Omari Akhmedov. I'm so glad that he's got the co-main event because he seems to be one of these guys. Did I name Omari Akhmedov maybe like a dark horse at one point? I think I've spoken about Omari. He's a dangerous guy in this division. And he can give a lot of people problems. I just don't really rate his wins too much. Like, he won against Ian Heinisch by decision. It's Ian Heinisch. It's a really good win. Really good win. Ian Heinisch is a good win. Zach Cummins by decision. Can I see you KO Zach Cummins before I say you're going to go out there and KO Chris Weidman? Do you guys see the problem that I'm having here? Tim Boetsch by decision. Can I see you maybe crack Tim Boetsch at this point in Tim Boetsch's career? 2019 Tim Boetsch, 2019 Zach Cummins. Can I just see something a little bit more dominant that tells me that you're going to go out there and KO Weidman? Because if you're not going to KO Weidman in the first round, you definitely not do it in the third round with your cardio. And you're going to give him the chance to try and take you down, which I think he will be successful in. Weidman's going to get the job done. And I think if Weidman actually wins and comes back to the middleweight division and gives that chin a bit of a rest with a win here, he's going to be dangerous for some of those guys. I don't know who he's going to be taking on next. Maybe the loser of Yoel Romero versus Uriah Hall. Both rematches in Weidman's case if he does get the win here against Omari Akhmedov. I mean, him versus Yoel Romero could be rematched. That was a decent fight. Wasn't really a decent fight, but it ended in a great way that everyone remembers. The flying knee from Romero. Maybe they can run that one back to save Romero's career, potentially, if he loses. I don't think Romero's going to lose. If it's Uriah Hall, Weidman beat him before they even got in the UFC. Let's run that one back. Good fights to make. It's good to see Weidman back in the middleweight division. Not only is it good to see Weidman back in the middleweight division, but they've given him the right opponent here in Omari Akhmedov because he's a guy right now who isn't really being talked about too much. And if he can get a big win over Chris Weidman, people are going to be talking about him. Co-main event of a fight night, KO over Chris Weidman, former champion. I mean, people know of Chris Weidman from when he was champion. A lot of these fans that don't really watch the sport too much, they know of Weidman as the former champion. That's how he's promoted. Former champion Weidman. In no promo of a Weidman Fight Night headliner do they tell you that he has been finished in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 6 fights. They really leave that information out of it. So if someone sees Omari Akhmedov KO Chris Weidman, it's going to mean a massive deal to them. And Omari Akhmedov's going to get the shine that he deserves. So I'm glad that they've done this. I just feel as though Chris Weidman's going to be able to go out there, push him against the cage, take him down. Omari Akhmedov gasses out. I can only imagine how much he's going to gas out with a grappling Weidman on top of him, who's a bigger guy in the division. And he's got the reach advantage. And he's got the size advantage, period. I think he's got the speed advantage as well. Not the speed advantage, sorry. Jesus Christ. The footwork. He's like faster moving than Omari Akhmedov. Akhmedov's a little bit flat-footed in there. I think if Weidman sticks and moves, keeps his feet moving faster, not his hands, Omari Akhmedov has the hand advantage, the punch speed advantage here for sure. Hand speed. Omari has the hand speed advantage. He's got great inside leg kicks. I understand the dangers that Omari Akhmedov possesses. I don't think he beats Weidman. He's still my boy. He just is still my boy. I think he's got this one in the bag. I don't think he's going to win too many more. I don't see Weidman going on to become champion in this division again. That's for damn sure. But I can see him doing it. I can see him beating Omari Akhmedov. I like it. I think he should be a favourite anyway, so they're pretty even in odds. Even though he is the favourite, they're pretty damn even. I'll go with Weidman, for sure. Getting the job done, dancing around in the first round, eventually shoots for the takedown, pushes Omari Akhmedov against the cage. Arm triangle. I'll go with an arm triangle. Purely strength-based, size-based submission. The most strength, size-based submission, should I say. Not purely. Of course, there's some skill involved as well. But still, if Lesnar's pulling it off against guys in the UFC with his first few fights ever, I think it's pretty sure to say that an arm triangle is not maybe the most dangerous in terms of technicality and how much you have to learn it. You know, it's just kind of, you know, it's pretty straightforward. You get your fucking arm round and you squeeze him. I think Weidman's going to get it done, man. I like Weidman. He's a veteran. He's got experience going 3 rounds and 5 rounds. Omari slows down. Loser of this one, if it's Weidman, Bellator. Might have to be Bellator. Might have to be shifting off Weidman to Bellator because, I'll be honest with you guys, there's a point in a fighter's career where he becomes a risk to the company's image. Okay, because the UFC has not had anyone die yet. And that's a real big thing to have. At least I don't think they have had anyone die yet. You know, I don't think they've had anyone die yet in the UFC as far as I remember. I'm sure that would be something that I would remember if they did. So I don't think they have. Weidman's on his way to becoming the first. Like, eventually they're going to start letting go to Diego Sanchez's, you know? Like, we don't need that fucking hassle. Let Bellator have a death on their record. And then they'll have Weidman go as well. Because, listen, if Weidman goes to Bellator, oh my god, I almost want Weidman to lose because it would be better for his career. If he wins this fight, he's going to go on to get KO'd by someone better and stronger. But if he loses, he can go to Bellator, make a couple 100,000 to show against Anderson Silva in a trilogy, because Bellator would do a trilogy between him and Anderson Silva. If Anderson Silva ends up there as well, I'm saying as well, that could potentially happen. Anderson should just go. Just go, Anderson. We don't need you here anymore. Okay, it's kind of embarrassing at this point. It's like watching your granddad get beaten up. But still, Weidman should go to Bellator. I mean, Lyoto Machida's waiting there for him. There's a rematch they could make. No? There's good fights. Gegard Mousasi rematch, there was controversy there. With the knee, grounded opponent rule. You know, like, there's some good fights. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button now. And I'll see you later. Yeah.